I'm Daniel Paredo.
I'm Amy Felipe. We have been living in Parañaque City for almost 25 years.
I have been living in Las Piñas for 16 years.
And honestly, I barely use plastic bottles.
I usually consume plastic bottles mainly when going out.
I've never heard of Freedom Island.
I've never really actually heard of this island. Does it even exist here in the Philippines?
Metro Manila, found in Luzon, is the capital region of the Philippines, having 16 cities in total. Two of the cities in Metro Manila reside on an island that is known to be an ecotourism area and houses different species of birds. With contributions from a science professor.
Hello, I'm Evangeline Felipe, a professor of the University of Makati.
A Juris Doctor.
I am Angela Felipe, a Juris Doctor graduate and a legal consultant of a private firm.
A psychology student.
Hi, I'm Louie Reyla. I have been living in Parañaque City for almost 8 years.
And practical knowledge from the residents of Las Piñas and Parañaque City.
Hi, I'm Ira Felipe and I've been living in Parañaque for 26 years now.
One particular species of bird has only been spotted on that very island.
This is a message for everyone to stop throwing all of your rubbish recklessly.
This is Saving Freedom Island.
Yo, what's up?
Hey Mark, are you ready for your interview today?
Oh, it's today? Yeah, sure, of course. Hello, my name is Marc Ocampo and I'm a content creator, and before even there were pandemics and lockdowns, I usually just travel a lot, make travel vlogs and other types of content. Right now, since I'm not able to leave the house, I mainly make contents reacting to videos. I've actually never heard of Freedom Island before until I came across this one video about it. Oh, that's crazy.
It's February 2022. Marc Ocampo, a travel vlogger, takes the opportunity to visit Freedom Island. As he makes his preparation for his trip, he doesn't know what to expect from his adventure. Taking extra precaution, before visiting the island, Marc wanted to make sure that he is clean from the virus. He knows that he would be interacting with a handful of people in his adventure. Deciding to be tested first before the trip was on top of his priorities. Freedom Island is quite different from other nature reserves in the Philippines.
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another episode of Marc Does Travels. I would like to all welcome you to El Pipichea, or also known as Freedom Island.
Since Freedom Island stands as a wetland that consists of two islands, these islands contain mangroves, ponds, lagoons, mudflats, and mixed beech forests that benefit the livelihood of the animals and the island itself.
Notable birds such as the Chinese egret, the black-winged stoat, the Siberian ruby-throat, and the Philippine duck reside on El Pipichea, which are considered as endangered birds known on the island. That's why the island became a beneficial service for them. The island provides shelter, food, nutrition that will be significant to them during the breeding season. So currently I'm walking here on the boardwalk to sightsee this beautiful mangrove forest.
These mangroves are biodiversity hotspot of different animals such as migratory birds and sea turtles. It also stands as protection for storm floods because it acts as a sponge forest that absorbs water and stores them. This process will eventually slow the flood as it reduces its height and the damage done by the erosion. The island, throughout the times, eventually came to be the Freedom Island we currently know. Right now, Freedom Island faces a huge problem that affects all the marine life as well as the animals residing on the island.
Seeing the island in person is pretty much different than seeing it on the internet. The island is quite massive. The bamboo museum, the mangrove forest, which is great, until you see the coastlines. There are tons of birds, which is very alarming. There are trashes, toxic waste, which is very harmful for the animal. As I was cleaning, it made me realize that, some serious action needs to be done.
During the northeast monsoon, you won't see any trash here and there. You won't see many plastics or anything because of the northeast monsoon. However, during the southwest monsoon, you'll see the trash floating in the sea, slowly accumulating on the shoreline. During typhoon season, you won't see any of these sands because of piled up plastic bottles.
With the current situation in Freedom Island, one of the main waste pollution problems it has is the improper disposal of single-use plastic waste. Freedom Island volunteers reported that they acquired 170 to 200 sacks of garbage per day, the majority of it from plastic wastes that washes to the shores, mostly coming from Manila Bay. Movements and organizations such as Save Freedom Island Movement, Planet Cora, and Earth Island Institute volunteered to do coastal cleanups here in Freedom Island. One notable organization, Planet Cora, a local organization that develops sustainable programs, has collected a total waste of 133.25 kilograms from LPP Chayat during the annual coastal cleanup on World Wetlands Day.
I taught chemistry in the junior high school, and chemistry involves mixtures, pure substances. Now, plastics are involved in the colloids. There are different colloids. One is lyophilic and lyophobic. There are other colloids which we call esters, ethers, carboxyl, and so on. Now, these plastics are involved in esters. Preferably this bisphenol A.
Plastic waste from food and beverage consumes around 31.14% of total plastic waste compared to other plastic contributors, making it the #1 contributor to plastic waste.
During my lecture in chemistry, I taught my students about the harmful effects of plastics. One of the chemicals that are present in this plastic is bisphenol A. Bisphenol A is a substance that would harden any plastic. It is a colorless ingredients that are placed in plastics, not only in PET bottles, but you can also see this one in CDs or all related plastics, even the one that you place in the microwavable plastics. It contains bisphenol A. Now, this bisphenol A will, when taken inside our body, is only harmful for an hour. It disintegrates after. In long term, it would have an effect because we do use plastic. But there are some people who do have these diseases, those who have cancer, those who have asthma. These are the ones more affected by this bisphenol A.
Bisphenol A is a chemical compound for industrial uses that creates plastic bottles. It consists of epoxy resins that include packaging from foods and beverages. BPA has transgenerational effects which interfere with the animal's prompting hormone and the ways animals usually reproduce.
Microplastics are particles that are less than 5 mm. As we know that 5 mm is very small as we cannot see them by our naked. But these are visible, especially in our laundry, from the clothes that are being laundered every day, and also from the waste materials that are thrown in the rivers or oceans. The one that has a negative effect on this one are the marine environment. These microplastics and bisphenol A, which is the substance present in this microplastic, are harmful in our aquatic life, preferably the plants and the marine life. If we continue on throwing that goes to the ocean, it is greatly affected by the marine life, and it is the source of our food in our.
The contribution of plastic waste is heavily dependent on how properly the plastic is disposed of. According to Chop Velasquez, people tend to just throw away their trash on the waters, especially in Manila Bay. This goes to show that people are not fully aware or are not conscious of the consequences of their actions.
I usually consume plastic bottles occasionally. However, as much as possible, I bring my own tumbler, and I've never heard of Freedom Island.
The surrounding cities of Freedom Island are notorious for its poor waste management and clearly affects the lives of animals residing on the island and may eventually kill them.
Actually, I've heard of Freedom Island, which is actually located within coast of Parañaque City and Las Piñas. And based from my research, that Freedom Island is the remaining forest mangrove, which serves as a sanctuary of marine life forms and other species, whether endangered or not. There's this promulgated law, specifically known as Ecological Solid Waste Management Act of 2003 or Republic Act number 9003. This specifically provides a policy information or guidelines to local government units in the Philippines, wherein they implemented the forms of 3Rs: reuse, recycle, and reduce. Wherein, with respect to reduce, they would like to achieve at least 25% reduction of solid waste management in the Philippines. Well, this law specifically provides that local government units are the ones responsible for the implementation and enforcement of the Ecological Solid Waste Management Act of 2003. So these local government units, they provide plans and submit reports to the National Ecological Solid Waste Management Commission, providing their plans for the whole year with respect to solid waste management. This includes segregation, collection of garbage or solid waste for whether or not they can still be recycled, reduced, or reused as solid waste management. Also, the law specifically provides prohibited acts. Well, in order to see whether or not this law specifically helps the environment, they provide prohibited acts and sanctions to those people who tend to violate. What are these prohibited acts that are in violation of the law? These are any person who litters, who just throws solid wastes publicly, those who open burn solid wastes, because of course those burned solid wastes, they emit specific emissions that might affect or harm the health of the public. With respect to those responsible, like for example, the local government units in implementing and enforcing the policy or the law itself, we can say that they are doing their jobs because their job is to provide plans and submit reports in order to see whether or not they're actually practicing what they have planned for and what they have reported in relation to solid waste management. However, we have also to inform the public on how they are to conform to the law itself. Because even though the government units are enforcing or implementing their plans, the public or the people or the community of each local government unit must conform to those plans as well.
Pinangunahan ng iba't ibang environmental groups ang pagsasagawa ng clean or coastal cleanup sa Freedom Island, dyan po sa Parañaque. Napapatrol, Abner Mercado.
Iba't ibang klase ng basura ang inalis kanina sa baybayin ng Freedom Island sa Parañaque. Sa isang linggo pa ang International Coastal Cleanup, pero nauna na ang iba't ibang environmental group sa proyektong ito. Simboliko kasi ang kanilang isinagawang coastal cleanup sa Freedom Island bilang pagtutol ng mga residente ng Las Piñas at Parañaque sa nakaambang reclamation project dito.
Pero natutuwa kami na ang daming pabalik-balik ng mga Pilipino na nagmamahal sa kalikasan na patuloy na nililinis yung Freedom Island.
So can you just imagine na yung basura na tinatapon natin ay kinakain din ulit natin kasi kinakain siya ng isda.
The mangroves also benefit the livelihood of communities, especially the fishers and farmers, since a fresh mangrove can have a fresh catch. They also maintain the water quality since they trap sediments, metals, and other pollutants that prevent the contamination of waterways and protect coral reefs and seagrass.
I think I consume plastic bottles daily because, of course, we always go somewhere, especially when we are assigned to field work. And there are times that we don't bring water jugs, so yeah, every day, regularly. I think I can give them advice to be mindful that a small litter that they throw away is not a small impact on the environment. Like, it will create a domino effect and eventually, this small litter will cause a greater impact. It may affect biodiversity, the water quality, etc. That's why I want them to realize that every person should know that even if it's a small litter, they need to be responsible and mindful of it.
According to Jeruz Pahilanga, Park Information Officer from DENR, water pollution is a known problem of the Manila Bay. Waves and tidal movements carry the wastes from Manila Bay and its surrounding cities and provinces to the coastlines of LPP Chea. There are two main factors why this happens. Chot Velasquez said that the first is the improper waste disposal of people from Manila Bay. The second reason is the hydrology or the ocean currents of Manila Bay. Trash gets thrown on the waters of Manila Bay, and the current takes it to the shorelines of Freedom Island, eventually accumulating and affecting the natural environment of the island.
Yes, it is possible, I think, because firstly, when we say psychological, it's with the mind, right? Which is the one that sends a message to our body and the main reason why we are doing what we are doing. Second, especially when we say behavior, I believe that it can be natured or nurtured. When we say nature, it simply means that it is inherited from genes, while when we say nurture, it has the influence of its environment. So one of the example of this is that with the nature of behavior, it can be inherited from our parents. We often hear from someone that we and our parents have the same behavior, or hear that he also does that, your mom also do that. And with the nurture of behavior, people can easily adopt or be influenced with its environment. Such as a friend is always throwing trash, or you are living in a community where throwing trash is okay. And that makes your mind and body adopt and be influenced. In that case, you will also do the same to be able to feel the belongingness.
In the end, progress is impossible without change, and changing their minds is the only way we can see change. What's the use of our houses, buildings, cars, and everything if we don't have a tolerable planet to put it on? If we cooperate, we can make our planet a better place. Because after all, it is what we are all going to have in common.
I guess the only question now is, if no one takes action, who will?
Just think of it this way. Many people are still homeless due to flood and other calamities caused by people who are recklessly throwing plastics everywhere. So have mercy, guys. Just don't do it.
Message to the government is to include in their plans some seminars and programs or education that will enhance the knowledge of the public or community of each local community. This includes how to properly segregate their particular garbages from non-biodegradable to biodegradable purposes, and also for each barangay to strictly implement it.
My message to everyone is to love our environment, because this is our life. Loving our environment, we should practice and abide with the rules of government. Some of these practices is separating waste, garbage waste like biodegradable and non-biodegradable, and also proper disposal of the sewerage system. Every house should have a good and proper sewerage system.
Kailangan din po na meron laging nagbo-volunteer dito para nang sa gayon ay mapanatilihin nating malinis at maganda ang ating inang kalikasan.
Sana magtulong-tulong sa iwasan ba sir yung pagtapon nila sa mga estero kung saan-saan. Ayun lang inaano ko sa kanila, yung mag-ano ba sila, magtulong-tulong na ilagay sa isang lalagyan ng basura. Ganun ang gawin sana para hindi magkalat sa sa karagatan, kasi kawawa naman ng mga isda natin. Katulad din sa atin, sa mga tao, na 'di ba siyempre kinakain natin.
what I can say to the citizens near El Pichea, where now people call it a wetland park, what I can say to them is that I hope they can have more discipline. Don't just throw trash anywhere, because especially people near this area, if they throw this trash anywhere, it will accumulate here on the LP Pichea shoreline. Same goes here in the Long Island area in Las Piñas. What I can say to them is to lessen their littering everywhere, like on rivers. Because during typhoon season, all this trash will end up here. That's why I want them to have more discipline.